Hello traders, this is Blake Morrow with ForexAnalytix, and you're listening to the week ahead video for September 20th, 2020. I hope everybody's having a great weekend. I'm going to talk about some of the things that happened last week and obviously what we're looking for in the week ahead. But I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that the passing of Justice Ginsburg over the weekend. The reason why this is a big deal for us, well, as Americans, it's a big deal. It's a huge loss for one of our, women, highly regarded Supreme Court justices. But it's actually it could potentially be impactful for the currency market over the next couple of weeks, depending on how politicians, position themselves going into the election. And there's going to be a lot of debate. And I don't want to get into the weeds regarding politics, but there's going to be certain posturing and certain, there may be a push to get a new justice elected ahead of the elections. And if that's the case, it could weaken or strengthen certain parties if that happens, and vice versa. The reason why this is so important is because the currency market, and actually let me take that back, the equity markets are very much going to be influenced in the weeks ahead based on the polls, in my opinion. And if you look at the S&P where we're currently at, we're trading between the 3,300 and 3,425 level, and the risk is, at this point, do we slip below the support towards the 200-day moving average around 3,100 in the S&P or not? And my opinion would be is if the polls widen towards a Biden election, Biden win, over a Trump win, that could push us lower. If the market sees that Trump is closing the gap in the polls, that would be bullish for equities. And again, how the politicians position themselves here in the next week could really influence the polling for the presidential election. That's the reason why I bring all this up. So that is obviously very important. That's very important going into this next week. But what's also very important going into this next week is all the economic data that we have coming up into this next week. And you can actually, go to ForexAnalytix, go through the calendar and see what's happening into this next week. So, and that's actually the previous week, but you can continue to scroll through that if you want. But let me cover just a couple of things that are happening next week. The Fed chairman is actually testifying a couple times next week. On Monday, he's going to be testifying to the rulemaking for the Community Reinvestment Act. And then at the end of the week, he's testifying regarding the CARES Act before the Senate Banking Committee and also before the House Select Committee. So we're going to see Fed Chairman Powell actually testify a couple times next week. On top of that, we have like the New Zealand RBNZ rate decision, which, as you can see, the Kiwis pushing up against resistance here. And, we actually had a slight failed breakout above those highs. We have a lot of Eurozone PMIs next week. And the Swiss National Bank is also making a decision on interest rates. We have durable goods orders at the end of the week in the U.S., which could be influential because the Fed is so focused on inflation. So economic data is obviously going to be playing a big part in the markets going into this next week as well. But we have some huge technical developments that are building. But before I go into all of this, I have to talk about something super exciting happening next weekend. It's the Online Traders Summit. It is happening from the 25th through the 27th, so it's going to be next Friday through next Sunday. Now you see the panel discussion here. You don't see the change that's happening over this weekend, and I'm not going to even tell you what the change is. But there is a change coming to this wonderful lineup of speakers that you see here. And this is one of the best lineups that you're going to find in any conference, online or in person. But we have another person we're adding to the debate panel. And I don't want to tell you who it is until all the print and documents are available. But if you guys listen to the F.A.C.E webinar every day, or you follow us on Twitter, whether it's myself or the ForexAnalytix Twitter handle, we have some very exciting news for the conference next weekend. We are adding somebody who is going to be very explosive from a debate standpoint. You guys are going to be freaked out. So if you haven't registered yet, make sure you do it. Because we're losing all of our live spaces because they're filling up. I mean, we've got a lot of people, so make sure you register. Also, I need to mention this: if you guys have been waiting to be a ForexAnalytix subscriber, you've probably been waiting for several, like 5 or 6 months since COVID started. Since we ran an offer, a special. Right now is our seasonal offer, and it's good until the end of this month. So don't take advantage, or don't wait to take advantage of the ForexAnalytix offer, because we haven't run it for so long because of COVID. And it's a seasonal offer. And if you want to wait now till the beginning of the year, well, you're going to have to wait a few months to get it again. So this offer is available right now. Do not wait. Click right here where it says sign up today. All right, now I'm going to continue on with the analysis. Like I said, there are a lot of key developments in my opinion. So first and foremost, let's talk about the euro. This is the multi-year trend line, right? This pink line here. See that high right from April 14th, or April 2014, excuse me? We are respecting it. You can see every dip for the last 3 weeks, we are holding above it. That means that 117.50 is rock solid support. We've been trying to dip below this trend line, not been able to break it. That means if we break below 117, we should probably trade back to 115. Now, the only way that I see this happening, in my opinion, is if the S&P breaks down. So that means that we'd have to see some risk aversion. The dollar would strengthen. I do think that any euro downside would be very limited to 116 to 115, but that doesn't mean it can't happen. And those of you that listen to me every day on the F.A.C.E webinars, you know that I'm a little skeptical of the euro up here. I want to be a buyer. I just don't want to be a buyer at these levels. That doesn't mean it can't go higher. I'm just saying that personally I'm waiting. Now, if you look at the Aussie and you look at the Kiwi, they are just range bound, but they're holding on to their gains, and that we have to be aware of. I do want to point out that the US dollar Canadian has been building this inverted head and shoulder pattern, and it's holding up very well. And frankly, if we break, these are the levels you have to watch right here. See this low? This is a low from June of this year. And see this resistance right through here at 132.60. This is a resistance zone. It basically is from 132.60 to 133. Okay, and by the way, that comes in right there. Sorry, that's where it is. 132.60, 133.10. I think the low here was 133.15, if I'm not mistaken. One low was, I'll tell you, yeah, 133.15, and that was on June 10th. So the point I'm trying to make here is it looks like an inverted head and shoulder pattern. The neckline, it's actually kind of a thick neckline. I'll get excited about it on a break above 132.60, but I'll get really excited on a break above 133.15. Okay, but the dollar Canadian has been building a base, and I think that's really a good looking pair if you want to play the dollar to the long side. Because some of you might, like me, might be a little skeptical on playing the euro long, or euro short, excuse me. Well, if you want to show your dollar bullishness, that's not the word I'm looking for. I'm trying to think. It's a Saturday morning, and I'm trying to think, and it's not necessarily coming too clearly to me. If you wanted to express dollar bullishness, maybe the best expression might be U.S. dollar Canadian strength, right? That's something to think about. Also, I want to point out that the U.S. dollar Mexican peso actually closed the week back above 21. That's a little bit of a big deal because we're working off these over sold conditions on relative strength, and we're also divergent on relative strength. Another way to potentially express dollar strength or dollar bullishness would possibly be through here. Now, this week ahead video would not be complete without me talking about the U.S. dollar Japanese yen. So the U.S. dollar Japanese yen broke aggressively through the triangle. I know if you guys are ForexAnalytix subscribers, many of you took advantage of the breakdown once we broke through 105.70. And what you'll notice is we are closing in. And let me delete this really quick. I'm going to get rid of some of these lines just to make it a little easier for you to view. Let me make this different. Okay. What you'll notice is we found support ahead of the spike lows at 104. 104.10 or 104.15 or whatever the low is here. Now, what we have identified is that dips below 105.50 don't last long, but also realize that that we had, excuse me, we had Prime Minister Abe is going to. He's retiring, and this may influence the yen a little bit longer term. That's why I think we have to be really careful. If we do break below 104, there is the risk that we slip and move back down towards 102.50, which would be long-term. Let me pull up a weekly chart. Long-term support. When I'm talking long-term, like long-term trend line support might come in around 102.50. So I think the risk is, just to illustrate it here on this chart, if we break through 104, I think there is a risk that we could move lower towards 103, 102.50. Just keep that in mind with the dollar yen. I think those dips are going to be supported down there, but that is the risk right now. Obviously, other yen pairs are moving as well, whether you're talking about the Euro yen, Aussie yen, New Zealand yen. Yes, last week on the week ahead video, I talked about the importance of the New Zealand yen trend line, if you guys don't recall. And, the New Zealand yen has, just kind of meandered this week. But if the dollar yen breaks down, that means that the New Zealand yen may also suffer a similar fate, if we slip through 70. So just keep that in mind if you're watching into next week. So guys and gals, don't forget, register for the Traders Summit conference. It is next weekend. Don't wait to get your seat. So if you haven't done so, make sure you do so. And then this way you'll get the recordings. Even if you can't listen live, you actually get those recordings. And don't also forget to take advantage of the seasonal offer that we have for ForexAnalytix. All right, guys and gals, if you think this video is going to be very beneficial to you going into this next week, make sure you click the thumbs up button on the YouTube channel and subscribe to our channel as well. So my name is Blake Morrow. I hope you have a great week next week, and I'll see you on the F.A.C.E webinar. If you do not know how to register for that, you'll find that in the description of this video. Have a great one, and we'll talk to you on Monday.